Hey guys, welcome back to Algebra 2 lessons with Miss B. Today we're going to be going over the base E. So this is very similar to the exponential growth and decay functions. The only difference is that instead of having a base that's a number, our base is always going to be E. Okay, and E is a value that you can find on your calculator. Okay, you don't need to know the value of E off the top of your head like you do with pi. You can just plug it into your calculator, okay? And if you have trouble finding it on your calculator, just send me a text message or an email and I can send you a little video on how to do that. Okay, so the parent function for this is going to be the same as the ones for the exponential growth and decay functions, but our transformed function, or g of x, looks like ae x minus h plus k. Okay, so remember the parent functions for the transformed functions for the exponential growth and decay was very similar. It's just instead they had the a b x minus h plus k. Okay, so now we just don't have the b anymore. We just have a. So b is e. All right, so our first reference point for our parent function, or f of x, is 0, 1. Okay, for our g of x, our first reference point is h, a plus k. Okay, for our second reference point, our f of x is 1, e, and for our g of x, it's going to be h plus 1, ae, oops, didn't work, ae plus k. Sorry, guys. My hand on the iPad screen is causing it to do weird things. So for the asymptote, our f of x, or our parent function, was y equals 0. But for our g of x, it gives us a y equals k. Okay, so whatever your value of k is, that's what your asymptote is. So we're going to do a few examples so that you guys can really see that. So this question asks us to find the first and second reference points in the asymptote for this transformed function. So it gives us the g of x is 3e x plus 1 plus 4. So over here I'm going to list my values. I find this to be helpful just so that I am able to keep track of everything. So my a value is right here. It's 3. My base is e. My h value is here, and since this is x minus h usually, that means that the 1 is a negative value. So -1. And my k is 4. Okay? So I'm going to use my first reference point formula, which is h, a plus k. So h is -1. My k, or my a, is 3 plus 4, which gives me a value of -1, 7. For my second reference point, okay, it's h plus 1, ae plus k. So I'm just going to plug that in so that my h is -1 plus 1, my a is 3, e plus k, which is 4. Okay, so this can either be written as 0, 3e plus 4, or you can plug the values into your calculator, which gives you 0, 12.2. Okay, so 12.2 is a rounded value. The original is 12.15, but I just rounded to 12.2. Okay, so then I go, my asymptote is y equals k, so that gives me y equals 4. So my first reference point is -1, 7. My second is 0, 12.2. And my asymptote is y equals 4. Okay, so that's the first example. So our second example is asking this very same thing, okay? So it's asking us to find the first and second reference point in the asymptote. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to list A, B, H, and K. And I want you guys to pause this video and I want you guys to try and list out the values yourself. Try and find A, B, H, and K. And then you can unpause the video and see if you found the correct answers. So if you've unpaused the video, then we're back at A equals -0.5, B is E, H is 2, and K is -1. Okay, so my first reference point Okay, if you guys are following along, please pause this video and I want you guys to try and find the first reference point on your own. So the formula is h comma a plus k, which is, I plug in my h value, which is 2. My a is negative 0.5 plus negative 1, okay, which gives me 2 comma negative 0.5 plus a negative 1 means it's subtracting, so negative 0.5 minus 1, which gives me 2 comma negative 1.5. For my second reference point, okay, if you guys are following along, please pause the video and try and find the second reference point. Okay, if you guys don't feel confident pausing the video, that's okay, just keep following along. AE plus K, okay, so I'm going to plug in my value of 2 plus 1. Okay, my A is negative 0.5 times E plus a negative 1. So this is 3 comma negative 0.5 E minus 1. Okay, if I plug this into my calculator, okay, if I plug negative 0.5 E minus 1 into my calculator, that gives me 3 comma negative 2.4. Okay, so then I go over here and I try and find my asymptote, y equals k. Okay, y equals negative 1. Okay, so our values, our first reference point is 2 comma negative 1.5. Second reference point is 3 comma negative 2.4. And our y, or our asymptote, is negative 1. Okay? So, for this question, they're asking us to graph the function. So in order to graph the function, we have to be able to find the first and second reference point as well as the asymptote. So I like to go and find the asymptote first so that I can automatically put that on my graph. So here's my k. So what you can do is you can start by listing your values. Okay, so I know my k is negative 3, my h is negative 2, base is e, and a is negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to go to my graph and I'm going to put my asymptote at y equals negative 3. Okay. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to plug in my values for the first reference point. My first reference point is h comma a plus k, which is negative 2 comma a is negative 1 plus negative 3, which gives me negative 2 comma negative 4. Sorry, my hand is on the screen. Negative 4. Okay, for my second reference point, this is h plus 1, ae plus k. Okay, so I'm going to do, I'm going to plug in my h value, which is negative 2 plus 1. My a value is negative 1, e, okay, plus negative 3. Okay, so this gives me a value of negative 1 comma negative 1e minus 3. Okay, so when I plug that into my calculator, that gives me a value of negative 1 comma negative 5.7. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to my graph and I'm going to go over to my negative 2 on my x-axis and drop down to negative 4 on my y-axis. Okay, and then I'm going to go to negative 1 and I'm going to go down to about negative 6 or close to negative 6, like right there. Okay, and then I'm going to draw in my graph. And that is how you graph for the function. Okay, so in our final example, it gives us a graph and they want us to find the function. Okay, so they gave us our first and second reference point. So our first reference point was negative 4, negative 8. Our second reference point was negative 3, comma, negative 2e minus 6. Okay, so I'm going to find my value. So this is also equal to h a plus k, just so that you guys have an idea. H plus 1, AE, oh, I'm going to try and squeeze this in, AE plus K. Okay? So I can find that my H value is -4. My K value is -6. The K value I found from here. Okay? My A I know is -2. And my base is always E. Okay, so now I can write my function. Go to g of x equals, and it's a, so -2, my base e, x minus my h, so it's +4, because minusing a negative gives you a positive, minus my base, which was, or my k, which was 6. And that is how you find the function from the graph. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, send me a text on Google Voice, or hit me up on the Remind app. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.